This issue, this dam, this facility has drawn a lot of interest and concern over a lot of years, but it really spiked in the last couple months since the beginning of August when a repair project was underway. And what we have heard from a number of people with different opinions is that oversight and regulation of this facility has not been as transparent as it needs to be, given the importance of this public resource. You know, we're talking about a number of things, including fish runs, and especially a steelhead run that some claim, boast, might be the primary run in the world on the North Umpqua River. And it's natural that a lot of people have concerns about this. When I had a conversation with the agencies, they made it clear that they are in the active process now of assessing these most recent repair project and how it relates to the history of the dam. And they are in conversation with the Winchester Water Control District about it. And what they can tell us today is limited. And I understand that. And we don't need everything today, but the interest level has been such that I asked them to come and tell us what they can today, with an understanding that it's quite possible that we'll revisit this discussion when they can tell us more after more of their work is completed. And if we do take this up again, we'll be sure to provide time and space for public comment from interested citizens. And with that, I think the last thing I would say is that it's not my view that a regulation or oversight of this dam is within the purview or responsibilities of this committee. That's not our job. We have agencies for that. But I do believe it's appropriate for us to speak to and insist on the need for transparency, given I'm not talking about the last 2 months, I'm talking about a history that has concerned people for a long time. And I'm not going to turn into any kind of regulator of this facility, but I will, as seems necessary, push for transparency and making the information that I think the public deserves on a resource this important. So with that little speech, I want to thank you folks for coming, and would you please introduce yourselves? And I don't know who you have picked to kick off, but let's start this discussion.
Chair Golden, excuse me, members of the committee, Ivan Gall with the Water Resources Department. I'm acting Deputy Director for Water Management with the agency.
Chair Golden, members of the committee, for the record, Sean Clements, the Acting Deputy Director at Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife.
And good morning, Chair Golden and Vice Chair Gerard. My name is Jennifer Weigel. I'm with the Department of Environmental Quality, where I'm the Water Quality Administrator.
Thank you.
So introducing the Water Resources Department really quickly, we're the water quantity agency here in this state. We manage and administer water rights across the state, including in-stream rights. We collect scientific data, conduct groundwater studies and surface water studies across the state, and we have a well construction and dam safety program. Our dam safety program monitors and administers about 950 non-federal dams across the state. These dams store water for multiple beneficial uses and provide a lot of benefit to the public. While these dams provide benefits, the consequences of dam failure can be significant, potentially resulting in loss of life and potential property damage there. The Water Resources Department provides engineering expertise. We coordinate dam safety inspections, determine actions needed to improve dam safety, and help dam owners understand their responsibilities for maintenance. About 70 of these 950 dams are rated as high hazard. That's our highest hazard rating. These high hazard dams are inspected annually across the state because people are living downstream, or they can result in significant property damage there if the dam is to fail. I want to be clear that the hazard ratings of the dam don't reflect the likelihood of failure or the condition of the dam. Rather, they reflect the consequence of the dam failing in the future. Specific to Winchester Dam. So Winchester Dam is located on the North Umpqua River, north of Roseburg. It's immediately upriver of the Interstate 5 bridge. It's classified as a high hazard dam. It was originally constructed in the 1890s with modifications in the early 1900s. It's a 16-foot high wood and cement structure that stores water for recreational purposes, and it's owned by the Winchester Water Control District. The Water Resources Department issued a final order in 1987 requiring the dam owner to periodically hire an engineer to complete structural inspections and evaluate the dam. In 2019, the Water Resources Department required the owner to complete a structural inspection, which requires the Water Control District to contract with an engineer. When planning the inspection, the engineer determined it was not safe or feasible to complete an inspection since destructive testing was needed to analyze structural members of the dam. So in 2021, the contract engineer proposed that the dam be modified such that the modifications would be capable of structurally supporting the dam should existing structural supports fail. In April of 2022, the modification design was submitted to the Water Resources Department. We reviewed that and approved it several weeks later. On August 7th of this year, 2023, the dewatering of the pool above the dam started in order to begin the construction work, and that construction work began on August 10th. Our staff conducted a site inspection on August 24th to check on the construction activity. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sean with ODFW.
Thanks, Ivan. Again, for the record, Sean Clements, Acting Deputy Director at the Oregon Fish and Wildlife. I'm just going to describe briefly the Oregon Fish and Wildlife's regulatory role in this project, which centers around fish passage. So in late 2022, the department received an application from the Winchester Water Control District to conduct these necessary repairs. The department reviewed that application and determined that it was not a trigger for fish passage at that time, meaning that it did not reach the threshold for major repairs under the rules that were present at that time. However, the temporary dewatering behind the dam and the temporary dewatering of the fish ladder did result in a temporary block in fish passage. In December of 2022, the department issued an authorization for a temporary block of fish passage for a 3-week period between August 7th and August 28th. The department chose that period based on analysis of historical run timings as a period that would have the least impact on native migratory fish. In addition, the department issued an authorization for rescue salvage. Both these authorizations had terms and conditions that were meant to protect aquatic life during the drawdown. The department did have staff on site during the drawdown and the project, and I'll talk a bit about that after Jennifer talks about DEQ's role. In addition to the work that was authorized prior to the project, the Winchester Water Control District did apply for 2 extensions for work through September 6th. Those extensions were ultimately authorized by all the agencies. Rewatering did occur prior to the 6th, and by the 6th, the fish passage facility was operating again. And I'll touch again on our observations during the project later.
All right, again, my name is Jennifer Weigel, contract permit coverage.
Weigel, forgive my interruption. Sure. We have really full agenda today, and I'm wondering if we could get to some discussion of what's going on right now at the agency level for people who have, expressed a lot of interest in this. I will say we had a prior conversation. You were very clear that you would not be prepared today to share all information, but we would like to know what's happening right now with regard and what to expect, what level of information to expect in the future.
Yes, and I think with that, then I can go ahead and turn it back over to Sean.
Thanks, Jennifer. Chair Golden, just to close out, I'd like to acknowledge that you are likely hearing from a lot of the public about this project, hearing complaints about potential permit violations and seeing reports in the media. As Jennifer indicated, the agencies did have staff on site throughout the project observing activities. We did collect a lot of information about project activities during that period that we're still analyzing. But what I do want to share with you is that there was a fish kill. It was on the order of hundreds of thousands of lamprey, and by statute, that could result in significant financial damages. Additionally, there was evidence of DEQ violations, and again, they could be liable for civil penalties in that case. And that's the agencies are currently consulting with DOJ on this.
Okay, and I got on my soapbox about transparency, and that doesn't mean tell us everything right now. But can we have an expectation for a fairly thorough report at some time certain in the future of what's happened here?
Chair Golden, I think you can, yes.
Good, thank you. A couple real quick, let me open the committee. Are there any questions right now? I was struck. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Senator Brucksmith.
Thank you. Yeah, of course, this project is in my district. I was unaware of this hearing until I saw it on the agenda. And I was on site, actually, and visited the site of the project. The complexity of the project, I think, is one of the reasons why the extension was necessary, because once the project started moving forward, of course, once you're peeling back the dam to try to fix it, you can't see all the necessary problems that are there, and so an extension was requested and granted. Is that correct?
Chair Golden, Senator Brucksmith, that's correct. The extension was granted.
Thank you. And so the and forgive me for not probably expressing the proper term, but the rewatering occurred prior to the the extension time. Did you? I believe you stated that earlier, before the 6th.
Chair Golden, Senator Brucksmith, yeah, the rewatering was completed by the required date of September 6th.
Thank you.
Senator Brzezinski, did you have something?
I do, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I really appreciate Senator Brocksmith representing the area now for a little over about a year, I guess. I had it for 18 years, and so that's kind of where my footprint comes into this. And we have worked and tried to have agencies engage as I see now, finally, we're getting somewhere. And I'm very frustrated as to how long it's taken to get our state agencies engaged in this. We now have a fish kill. We have DEQ violations that have been established. We don't know what those all are. I understand you still got the report to put together, but I'm hoping that you're going to give us a date, time certain as to when this is going to be there, so we can actually hold those accountable who have not done the work they should have done and actually made the repairs they should have done years ago. I mean, for representing this area for 18 years and having people coming to me and me trying to be a facilitator with the state agencies and getting nothing out of it, I'm very concerned with how this is done. I understand y'all weren't there. There's other people. It's just time on, time on. Transparency is one thing. Action's another thing.
And my understanding is that what is distinctive this time, correct me if I'm wrong, is your agencies working together on this concern in a way that hasn't happened in the past. Is that right? Right. Okay. So I guess, any kind of time frame about when a report will be ready for release?
Chair Golden, I don't think we've discussed the finalization of that report and timing yet.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Chair, I mean, you have to give, you're not going to walk away with that. How long does it take for you to go through these reports? You've done this before, I assume, in other situations. You should be able to give us in 60 days, 90 days, some type of time frame. Because if you tell us, well, it'll be a couple of years, I'm going to have a problem with that.
Yeah, Chair Golden, Senator Brzezinski, I understand that frustration. And like I said, we are working with DOJ on this and hope to finalize things shortly.
We have legislative hearings in early November.
Yeah, November 5th,
and then
6th,
another
7th.
in January. Do you think we can see a report by one of those dates?
Chair Golden, I think we'll have to work with DOJ on what we can and can't say by that point.
Okay, I wonder if you could get back to us when you talk to them and whoever, what we'd like is a date by which we can expect a report.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, can we also have the names of who at DOJ you're working with so we know who the principals are that you're going to be having discussions with?
I just have a couple more questions before we adjourn. Go ahead, Senator Brucksmith.
Thank you. And Senator Brzezinski, I look forward to talking to you to get more history on this dam. I appreciate the work that the agencies are doing and the on-site. I feel as though I need to protect my individuals a little bit. In the Winchester Water District, we have situations all the time where there are water quality issues in the Willamette, do we not, where there's spills and so forth, and we are bringing those issues to this committee and having hearings on those and wanting to have additional hearings. So I look forward to broadening this discussion, if we're going to do that, Senator Golden, on issues that we have as far as water quality across the state, because
If you have concerns about violations on other waterways, I'd really like to hear it. Be quite ready to examine those.
Great. Thank you.
Senator. And I really think it's important to get this report before, I think all of us with any background on this issue come to it with some opinions, but we really need to know more about what's happened before we can have a worthwhile conversation, I think, about what our role might be, if any. Real quickly, as I say, we're a little short on time. Mr. Gall, I heard something that surprised me. I want to see if I heard it right in your remarks. I think you said the hazard rating of these dams, that you said was it 90 high hazard dams on the list in the state?
Approximately 70 of the 950.
70, okay. And I think I saw this one rated at number 17 or something like that. It's somewhere on that list of 70.
To my knowledge, they're not ranked within the high hazard category. They're just assigned a rank of either high hazard.
I think I read something. But my question is this. I think I heard you say that a high hazard rating doesn't reflect the likelihood of failure or the current condition of the dam, but rather the consequences should there be a dam failure. Is that right?
Chair Golden, that's correct.
So if that's the case, you could have a dam, this or any other, that is absolutely perfect, just pristine at the highest level of engineering standards, as unlikely to fail as a dam can be. And if there were a downstream population, it would be classified a high hazard dam.
Chair Golden, that's correct. The hazard classification is a function of potential loss of life and damage to infrastructure and property.
Well, is there a list that does reflect current conditions and concern about the integrity of dams?
Our dam safety program has complete files on all the dams out there, from the low hazard dams to the high hazard dams. We certainly can provide information if you'd like to get us a request or make a request.
I think there's interest on this dam and
okay.
In particular, so I would like to ask for what information you have on likelihood of failure or whatever the metric is that's used for that.
I'll check with our dam safety program. Thank you.
And one other issue that we're not going to be able to get into today, but I want to flag it because as much concern as I've heard about the repair project of the last 2 months, I think this is sort of rekindled concerns about the efficacy of fish passage at that dam generally. And is that something one of you evaluate? There are assertions that there's some real problems, repair project aside, with fish passage at that dam. Can we get more information about past analysis of that from any of your agencies?
Chair Golden, certainly, yeah. And I will say that the current fish passage structure is not up to current standards. And if there were to be a fish passage trigger, it would require upgrades to that facility.
Okay, I think that's, maybe we could ask for a little amplification of that in your remarks and what particularly the situation is on this dam. I think that would be helpful. That would be responsive to a lot of the public comment that I've heard. So Senator Przanski.
Mr. Chair, you just hit it right on the mark. I mean, now we know that it has a fish passage issue. It's had it for over 18 years. And now what we're having is an emergency fix on the dam. But it sounds like the agency's not even gearing into addressing those issues at the same time to potentially mitigate out having to slow down water flow again to do some type of corrective action on a fish passage. This is the frustration that so many people, and Senator Brocksmith, I'd love to sit down and talk to you because, as you said, you have constituents on both sides of this issue that are impacted by this dam, not just the owners of the dam. So This is very important to everyone down there.
Maybe we could have a discussion in the very near future with some of these folks about follow-up on some of what you're talking about.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I really do hope we have an opportunity to see that report at least before our January Ledge Days hearing. Because, as I said, there are a number of people who asked to be heard on this, and I think that would be appropriate at a future date of this committee. Thank you very much for your testimony. Closing the information.